So today you are going to deal with a new subject, water resource engineering. The first topic is hydrologic cycle. So to start with hydraulic cycle, you all know what is the hydraulic cycle. It means the general circulation of water from the oceans to the atmosphere. The general circulation of water from oceans to atmosphere, then to ground and back to oceans again. That is the general circulation of water from oceans to atmosphere and then back to ground and oceans again. That is a cyclic manner that is termed as hydrologic cycle. The circulation of water from the oceans to the atmosphere, then to ground and back to oceans again. That is termed as a hydrologic cycle. And the hydraulic cycle is considered to begin with the water from the oceans. It is considered to begin with the water from the ocean. That is, we can see that the water from the oceans get evaporated and they forms clouds. The clouds condenses and fall to the earth as precipitation. And all this part of precipitation do not reach the ocean surface. That is, some of them falls on the land surface and some falls towards the ocean surface. Okay, and some part is retained in the within the plants. Some part of this precipitation is retained temporarily in the plants or temporarily in the vegetation and is returned to the atmosphere. എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കുറച്ച് part plants retained ആയിരിക്കും and it is returned to the atmosphere later, and that particular amount is known as transpiration. The amount which is retained by the plants and which is returned to the atmosphere is termed as transpiration. And some parts penetrates below the ground and join the groundwater table. That is, they moves downward. That is, from here it moves downwards and join with the groundwater table. That particular phenomenon is known as infiltration. Okay, so you should be clear with the terms transpiration, infiltration, precipitation, etc. Okay, so all of the part of precipitation do not reaches the ocean surface. Some falls on the land surface, and a portion of that falling on the land is retained temporarily on vegetation, which is returned to the atmosphere, and that particular amount is known as transpiration. And some percolates into the ground and join the groundwater table. That particular part is known as, or that process is known as infiltration, and that particular water is known as infiltrated water. So I hope now you are clear with the terms precipitation, infiltration, transpiration, etc. That is about the hydraulic cycle. It's a simple sketch showing it. Next is types of precipitation. We have to study different types of precipitation, and the first one is convective precipitation or conventional precipitation. Convective precipitation, it is most common in tropical countries. Convective precipitation is most common in tropical regions. Then, on a hot day, consider a hot day. നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു hot day assume ചെയ്യുക. On a hot day, that is especially during summer, the ground surface becomes heated. On a hot day, that is during summer, the land surface, the earth surface becomes heated. The ground surface becomes heated. As the ground surface becomes heated, ground surface heat ആവുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെ the air which is in contact with also becomes heated. Okay, the ground surface becomes heated, so the air which is in contact with it, ground surface heat ആവുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെ which air comes in contact with it also becomes heated. As the ground surface becomes heated, the air in contact with it, that is, the surface becomes heated. So what happens? The air which is in contact with that surface also becomes heated. And this causes the air to expand. Okay, the earth surface, the ground surface becomes heated, so that the air which is in contact with this ground surface becomes heated, and this air rises up. That is, the air expands and rises up due to convection. The air expands and rises up due to convection, As it rises up, as this air, as you can see the air is rising up, as this air rises up, it cools about 1 degree Celsius per 100 meter. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഓരോ 100 മീറ്റർ അത് മേളിലേക്ക് ട്രാവൽ ചെയ്യുന്നതോറും അത് 1 ഡിഗ്രി സെൽഷ്യസ് കൂൾ ആവും. That is, on a hot day, especially during summer, the ground surface becomes heated. As the ground surface becomes heated, the air which is in contact with it also becomes heated. And this air expands and rises up. As it rises up, it cools about 1 degree Celsius per 100 meter. ഓരോ 100 മീറ്ററിനും 1 ഡിഗ്രി സെൽഷ്യസ് അത് കൂൾ ആവും. Cool ആവുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് പറ്റും? It forms clouds. The cloud condenses and precipitation occurs. Okay, so you should know what is the phenomenon behind convective precipitation. What is the phenomenon behind convective precipitation should be clear. That is, on a hot day, the ground surface becomes heated. So the air which is in contact with it also becomes heated, and this hot air rises up. As the hot air rises up, it cools about 1 degree Celsius for every 100 meter. Then it forms clouds, the clouds condenses and precipitation occurs. This is the phenomenon behind or the mechanism behind convective precipitation. Next is orographic precipitation. You can see that the moist bearing winds rise up. You can see here the presence of wind, and due to the presence of this mountain, they rise up. Okay, the moist bearing winds are forced to rise up due to the presence of a physical barrier. Where you can see the barrier here there is a mountain. So what happens is that the moist bearing winds rise up due to the presence of this physical barrier. Here an example is mountain. So the moist bearing wind is rising up. You can see it is rising up due to presence of a physical barrier. There is a mountain. And such wind, these wind rise up and expand and cool. So as it expands, it cools and rises up to the slope of the mountain. And on further cooling, you can see that the moist bearing winds are rising up. Okay, it cools as well as it expands. It expands and cools. Then it forms clouds. The clouds condenses and precipitation occurs. Okay, the moist bearing winds are forced to rise up due to presence of a physical barrier. But a mountain presence the moist bearing winds are rising up. Okay, so as it rises up, it expands and cools. It forms clouds and clouds condenses and precipitation occurs. Then this type of rain, this type of precipitation is also called as relief rain because it is due to the presence of a relief structure. This type of rain is also called as a relief rain because it is due to the presence of a relief structure like a mountain. Then the side of the mountain which faces the wind, the side of the mountain which faces the wind is called windward side, and rain occurs on the windward side. And the opposite side, that's the next side, the opposite side which receives lesser rainfall. The opposite side which receives lesser rainfall is termed as leeward side. Okay, so the side of the mountain which faces the wind or which faces the wind is called as windward side, and the opposite side is called as this is the windward side. This side is the windward side. Okay, then this is the leeward side. And rain occurs in the windward side and do not occurs in the leeward side. Okay, so this is the windward side and this is the leeward side. That is about the orographic precipitation. Now the third one, cyclonic precipitation. Cyclonic precipitation results from lifting of air masses. Lifting of air masses converging into an area of low pressure. When the air mass gets lifted and converges into an area of low pressure. When it converges into an area of low pressure, we can say it is a cyclonic precipitation. And the cyclonic precipitation are of two types, frontal precipitation and non-frontal precipitation. Okay, first one we can deal with frontal precipitation. First, you should see what is a front. That is FRONT, front. A front means it is a surface separating warm air mass and cold air mass. Warm air mass name, cold air mass name separating the surface on a front. A front means it is the surface which is separating warm air mass and cold air mass. And you can see the front is again classified into warm front and cold front. So first one, cyclonic precipitation is classified into frontal precipitation and non-frontal precipitation. Frontal precipitation is further classified into cold front and warm front. If the warm air, if warmer air replaces colder air, warmer air, colder air replace ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ it is the warm front. And if the colder air, if the colder air replaces warmer air, it is a cold front. Okay. So front means it is a surface which is separating warmer air and colder air. The front is classified into warm front and cold front. Warm front means it is if the warm air replaces cold air, it is a warm front. And if the cold air replaces warm air, it is a cold front. That is about warm front and cold front. Then you can see the next difference is that the warm front precipitation spreads over an area of 300 to 500 kilometers. The warm front precipitation covers a large area. The warm front precipitation covers a large area that is around 300 to 500 kilometers, while the cold front precipitation covers a small area that is 100 to 150 kilometers. Okay, so now I hope you understood what is a front and what is warm front and cold front. And the difference between warm front precipitation and cold front precipitation is that the warm front precipitation extends a larger area, that is around 300 to 500 kilometers. But the cold front precipitation covers only smaller area, that is around 100 to 150 kilometers. That's the difference between warm front precipitation and cold front precipitation. Then next one is non-frontal precipitation. I പറഞ്ഞു cyclonic precipitation the classification ആണ് frontal precipitation and non-frontal precipitation. Then non-frontal precipitation occurs when there is low pressure caused in any region. When there is low pressure caused in any region, a non-frontal precipitation can occur. Okay, that is about the different types of precipitation. Convective precipitation, orographic precipitation, and cyclonic precipitation. These are the different types of precipitation. Okay, these are the different types. Next, we are dealing with the forms of precipitation. The different forms of precipitation are rain, snow, drizzle, glaze, sleet, and hail. So don't get confused between the types of precipitation and forms of precipitation. Types already ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. Forms എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ rain, snow, drizzle, glaze, sleet, and hail. We can talk about rain. If the water droplets have a diameter of at least 0.5 mm, if the water droplets possess a diameter of at least 0.5 mm, we can call it as a rain. Okay, if the water droplets is having a diameter of at least 0.5 mm, we can call it as rain. And the rain is classified into three depending upon its intensity. So depending upon the intensity, the rain is classified into three. They are light rain, moderate rain, and heavy rain. Okay, depending upon the intensity, rain is classified into three: light rain, moderate rain, and heavy rain. Light rain means they possess an intensity up to 2.5 mm per hour. 2.5 mm per hour വരെയാണ് intensity എങ്കിൽ it is a light rain. Then next is moderate rain. Moderate rain, the intensity is between 2.5 mm per hour to 7.5. 2.5 നും 7.5 നും between ആണ് value എങ്കിൽ it is a moderate rain. Next is heavy rain. The intensity is above 7.5 mm per hour. Okay, that is about the rain. Next is snow. If the precipitation occurs in the form of ice crystals in the രൂപത്തിലാണ് precipitation എങ്കിൽ, if the precipitation occurs in the form of ice crystals, it is snow. And its average density, the average density of snow is 0.1 gram per centimeter cube. The average density of snow is 0.1 gram per centimeter cube. Next is drizzle. The third form is drizzle. If the rain droplets is having size less than 0.5 mm, if the rain droplets is having the size less than 0.5 mm, it is called as a drizzle. Rain droplets തന്നെ size 0.5 mm ൽ കുറവാണെങ്കിൽ we can call it as a drizzle, and also the intensity should be less than 1 mm per hour. Okay. Size മാത്രമല്ല, you should see the intensity too. If the rain droplets is having size less than 0.5 mm, rain droplets in the size 0.5 mm നേക്കാൾ കുറവാണ്, and also the rain intensity 1 mm per hour ആണെങ്കിൽ, എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ the intensity of rain is 1 mm per hour and also the size is less than 0.5 mm, then we can call it as a drizzle. Next is glaze. Glaze means if the rain or drizzle, ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ rain അല്ലെങ്കിൽ drizzle, if the rain or drizzle touches the ground at 0 degrees Celsius, if the rain or drizzle, the rain touches the ground at 0 degrees Celsius, we can say glaze is formed, as well as if the drizzle touches the ground at 0 degrees Celsius, we can say glaze is formed. Okay. So if the rain or drizzle touches the ground at 0 degrees Celsius, we can say glaze is formed. Next is sleet. Sleet means they are frozen raindrops of transparent grains which form when rainfall passes through sub-freezing temperature. When the rainfall passes through sub-freezing temperature, we can say sleet is formed. Okay, sleet is formed when the rainfall passes through the air at sub-freezing temperature. When the rain falls through the air at sub-freezing temperature, we can call it as a sleet. Next is hail. Hail means they are irregular pellets or lumps of ice. This is hail. You can see these are hails. They are pellets. You can see that they are pellets or some lumps of ice. They are pellets or lumps of ice having size more than 8 mm. So forms of precipitation പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ first you should see what is its diameter. And next you should see what is its intensity. എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഓരോ ഫോമും മറ്റൊരു ഫോമിൽ നിന്ന് ഡിഫറെന്റ് ആവുന്നത് either its intensity is different or its size is different. Okay. So rain, snow, drizzle, glaze, sleet, and hail are different forms of precipitation, and they differ from each other on the basis of their size and intensity. So you should by heart the size and intensity of these forms of precipitation. And also do not get confused with the forms and types of precipitation. Okay, that is about the forms of precipitation. Okay, thank you.